Well, hi, welcome to my shop. Thanks so much for joining me here on June 20th. Today started out as 11 degrees outside. Holy smokes. And in a couple of days it's going to be steaming in here. Steaming around here. So today what I want to do is I want to investigate the slow speed of this record player. Last time I was working on it, a few days ago, I put a new cartridge on it. But at one point, this platter was turning at about half speed. And I kind of wonder, is that a chronic problem or is that just an acute thing, not going to happen again? But just before I do that, on the last video I posted, I restored to operation a turntable. And all the way through it, the turntable was exhibiting a problem with the motor making noise. And in the end, I was wondering, what am I going to do with this turntable? I mean, I can't really give it to anybody. It's a bit noisy. Well, here's what I did with it. In the end, I suddenly realized, hey, I'm the guy. I'm the guy who can use this turntable. So there it is, all set up. I now have a proper turntable in my shop, which is something kind of new. Okay. I think, this has just been sitting in the house. Nothing has happened to it. I'm just going to plug it straight into a regular outlet so we can feel the full weight of Niagara Falls when I turn it on. Okay. Speed is set to 33. I'm going to put a record on it. So the record is there to protect the needle, basically. I think we'll let the record player drop it, too. It's a little hard to see the motor here. Like this. Okay. To make the motor a little more visible, I'll put something on it. Hopefully that won't fly off. 33. What do you do? Here we go. And we're not listening to this. We can just... Oh, I don't have the outlet turned on. Okay, so with it in start position, I'm going to apply power here by turning on the power bar. There we go. So there's no way that's 33. Just going to give it a moment. Just it may just be takes it a little bit to get going. Even at that slow speed, it's got the power to. Oh, it's really slow. Oh, what are you turning off for? Well, not a very good sign. Not a very good sign at all. Now somehow it got playing last time. Let's start it again. Maybe it needs to be a little warmer. Traction looks good. It's not slipping or anything. And now this time it should turn off. Last time it shouldn't have. Well, I'd be lying if I said I'm not very disappointed here with the situation. Okay, I'm going to try to ramp the speed up myself. I'm just going to put it on manual. I'm going to change speeds here. So that's 45. Looks close to 33. 78. Quite a warp in that record. There it goes. That's 45. 78. Oh my, I had no idea there was that kind of warp in this record. Oh, how did it get that warped? Lots of sounds in there. There's 33. But what exactly happened there? That's 33 for sure. And what happened to my record? Is it really the record that's warped? Could it be I put the record down on top of a piece of paper? That might explain the warp. And it shuts off again. So the shutting off has to do with the height of this. So, sounds like a bit of an old machine, doesn't it? I don't think I've really done much lubrication underneath this record player yet. So there must be something wrong with the mechanism here. You can actually see a bit of it happening right here. Okay, let's carry on with this. Pull the plug out. Okay. I haven't put the locking ring on yet. I want to turn this over. I took the platter off because when I turn the record player over, the platter will fall off. Okay, so what we'll do is take a look at the mechanism here and the lubrication situation, which I frankly can't remember. Yeah, I don't think Oh, I'm being called away here. Okay. So here's the motor, of course. It looks just wonderful. Everything looks fantastic under here. There's no dust. Wonderful. Looks like it could use some lubrication. So that's probably the problem here. Now here's the mechanism that's supposed to be operating the clear. This when the last record drops off the spindle, this drops low, pushes this lever, pulls on this arm with some spring protection in it. And I see this is not moving at all. The spring is stretching, but this isn't moving. Come down here. There's a little lever here. This is stuck. This lever's stuck. Oh! Not stuck now. What happened there exactly? Okay, what happens when we do this? Still doesn't move this lever. This lever is supposed to move at certain moments. So when an opportunity comes with the spring pulled tight, this lever jumps. I'm just guessing this stuff. I don't know. Every record player is a little bit different. Just doing the general lubrication in here. Would that fix this? I kind of doubt it, but this moves pretty freely. Why would everything moves quite freely? Okay, I don't see anything obvious that I can do here. A spring. So that's how they're doing the speed adjustment. Here's the ramp. when you change the speed, this goes up and down the ramp. That raises and lowers the idle wheel, which is moving here. Although it's lacking lubrication, it's working pretty good. Okay, let's do some lubrication. I want to try to get the old stuff off as much as possible. It hasn't completely dried. Okay. Now the problem with the motor, a lot of these motors have very low torque at low speed. Until they get up to full synchronous speed, they have no power. So if there's anything preventing them from getting to full speed, then they'll never have any power, the power they need to get to full speed. So it's a bit of a precarious thing when you first turn these on, that they can manage to get up to speed. So we can take this lower bearing off the motor here and we can re-lubricate it. That might help a little bit. But the motor's not completely blocked. It's already turning. It's just turning too slow. Okay, see another spot. So this ramping piece here, where this large plate comes along and then it's bent upwards a little bit, and it's in contact with the spring-loaded plunger here. Spring-loaded plunger is what lifts the tone arm. So as this plate moves this way, this angle piece drives this downwards. This is just about the hardest operation in most record players, is right here. So you need good lubrication. This is dry the bone. So we put a little bit in there. Although this record player is working. This may be the complete lack of lubrication. The lubrication has disappeared somehow. It's better than having a bunch of dried up sticky lubrication. Maybe that's the difference, and I'm sure you know from time to time different lubricants were used, of course. What else can we see here? Down here. This one has a roller right in here that's rolling. That's very important. A lot of record players do not have a roller in this place. They just have a rod, and the rod skids up and down this ramp. This one comes with a roller. Better. this case, the old lubricant is just gone. We have to do a little bit of sleuthing here. There's some here. Nicely. Good. Okay, here's another surface right here. Now, I've been using grease to this point. There could be a few things that need a little bit of oil. And there could be some things that, no, you do not want to apply any kind of lubrication to. So, things are already moving quite freely. All this in here. Drop of oil in there might do the trick. And what trick am I referring to? I don't know. Area where you need to keep oil away is the velocity trigger, which I can't recognize in this player. I'm not sure. Maybe perhaps this is it. No, I don't know. I think I'm going to put a little bit of that oil just down in here. Grease here. I've got an oil can in my hand right now, so okay. Now there was another spot I spotted right in here. Okay, motor. So of course everything's upside down the way we're looking at it. So the rotor is normally sitting on this, right? It's this way, and the rotor's sitting on it. So this bearing is quite important. The upper part of the motor is going through a sleeve, and you can throw a little oil in there, but it's not nearly as critical as this. Now, often there's a nut. There's a nut under this one. Yikes. Interesting, the nut is captured. Okay. That means the nut can't spin. So it's going to drop off here. Oh, it's spinning now. There, it dropped off. These can be very difficult to get back together, or at least difficult, maybe not very difficult. Let's see if this one's the same. Yeah, the nut is not spinning. Now it is. So you got to get the nut on, and then once you screw it a bit, it'll get into a trapped position. Very good. It's a locking washer. And the nut. Good. Now we'll pull off the bearing. Just all that black stuff. So here's the bearing. It would appear to be dry. So the top of this shaft is like a ball bearing, only of course it's not a ball bearing, it's the top of a shaft, but it has that shape, round shape. So ultimately the contact point in here is a tiny little spot at the very top. It certainly doesn't look like there's any lubrication in there at all. This is the case of the evaporating lubrication. So now I put some, I almost did it just now. Another record player like this, I put some grease in. I had a heck of a time starting that motor after that. So I ended up taking it apart, cleaning it. It could be it wasn't really the grease. I just never cleaned it all that well. You know, this puts on such a small amount of oil. Put in a better one here. Motor oil. Normally this is sitting like a cup. Ooh, that's a lot of oil. When you first put it on, it's upside down. Bound to have some oil come out. Oh, you know what I didn't do? Another motor. I should have done that. I should learn my lesson here. Did another motor and it wouldn't turn. Maybe it's the same one I'm talking about. And I discovered I took this off, turned it around and put it back on, and bingo, the motor was free. So stuff happens here. Getting this back together. It's going to be a little bit tricky. I've decided to go ahead and take the motor right off. We can get at the upper bearing on this motor, so it appears. Oh, wow, that is on there tight. Oops. Okay, now, pretty sure I can just lift the motor right up and out of there. Hey, motor's coming, rotor stand. This is a loose piece too. Oh boy, oh boy, boy, boy. Lots of pieces loose here. Wasn't there a sound? Although if the sound is coming from the motor, it'd be pretty fast. It'd be pretty quick. I don't remember it being that quick. So the upper bearing is self-adjusting. Upper bearing. We'll just throw a little oil in it. Now, really, is this really? Am I ahead in the game here? I don't know. I don't know. Okay. The idea is to reassemble this into the motor, and then drop the motor in. Can we really do that? I think so. Okay, so I got these things moving. I think there's a washer here that can move. Oh boy. Definitely backwards motion here. Hanging from the wires. Forgot the whole idea is to put this back together with it out. I almost forgot. So if this motor is not going to start from lack of torque, maybe as it got older or something like that, then you would expect it just would not turn at all. But it does turn. It turns up to half speed. Which is goes down into the area where it's held. Captured would be the word for it. What's going on here? What happened? Up a fair bit. the fact that this motor starts and then runs at what appears to be like half speed or something, I'm not sure what that says. And then somehow it gets up to full speed. By changing the speed controls when it happened last time. I can't see how that connects. Speed control? How does that cause the motor to speed up? The motor is always turning at the same speed. Okay, there we are. The motor should be turning at the same speed all the time. Now, that's right, I have to put a screw through. How'd this go? Okay, other one. So is anything I've done here, is it going to correct the slow start problem? I don't know. The hole. I can't let go of it. Washer that goes there? Where'd it go? What happened to it? Okay, let me just temporarily put this nut here. Did it fall into the record player? Did it? What happened? The little washer. Where did you go, little washer? Well, maybe I'll have to find another washer or just go without it. Shoot. I don't quite understand that. get stuck on the end of my screwdriver. My magnetic screwdriver. No. It's a mystery. Did I leave it on the screw head and now it's on the wrong side? I think that's what happened. Yeah, I left it in there. Okay. What do I do with the nut? There it is. Oh, this is a tough nut. Well, I can do it from the screw side. I was going to say tough to get a wrench in there now, but I can tighten it with a screwdriver on the other side. Let's do that. Well, did that help anything out at all? Let's find out. Of course, I'm going to start the motor and it may come right up to speed, and that's because whatever the condition is that stops it from coming up to full speed is not there anymore, because maybe the motor's warmed up. Maybe. Come on. Record. We'll see if it drops it and starts properly this time too. Very dusty record. Okay, we're set. We're not set. We're not plugged in. Okay, little record player. Let's see you do your thing. Running, it's not engaged at all. It's just not engaged at all. What's happened? Motor's off. I can tell the motor's off, but I can feel the vibration in the record player. What happened here? This looks like it's gone way high. Okay, that's normal. I took the spring. Yes, it's the spring that I disconnected. Forgot to reconnect. Plug it. That spring right there. The spring that pulls the intermediate wheel. into the motor spindle. So of course, without that, the intermediate wheel's not. I think that's okay. The intermediate wheel's not pressing on the inside of the rim here. Oops. Getting a little excited here, Jim. Okay. Now again, this test may give a false impression. Record. Let's put the record. Because we want to see if it'll actually play it. Hey, how about side 2? It's like one heck of a scratch in here on this record. Yeah, I don't know what that is. Maybe we'll play that at some point and listen to it. Here we go. Plugged in. Here we go. Motor. It's going slow. The speed we're on is 33. It's not even turning now. Let's go through one cycle here. Okay, now it's come up to speed. So it may have been in the middle of a mechanical operation when I started it. Going downhill here. This is stuck. Yeah, crying out loud. The ant war continues in this house. They dismembered this guy. I am waging chemical warfare. So in the morning, when I come downstairs, I might find around my house 6 or 8 of those black ants, and 6 of them will be dead, and 2 of them will be just curled up and going. Chemical warfare. Well, this situation is not so good here. It's turning at the right speed now. That's good. How it got there, I'm not exactly sure. Because when I started it up, it may have been in the middle of a mechanical operation. That's asking a little too much. 16. I have a 16 speed record. It's this big. It's this big. This record is rubbing on something. It's playing the record a little bit. Oh my god, is that what that mark is? I know what, oh my god, I know what it is. I know what it is. It's this thing. It's a little, maybe hard to see. It's because you have the separations between the different songs. But this right here is a skid mark. This one right above my finger is a skid mark on this record. My wonderful record. And I think it's from this guy. Okay, we'll fool him into thinking he's got a record. This is up in the air. The record player always thinks that there's records to drop. We're going at 78, so this will be quick, and I'll catch the arm. Oh, no, I won't. Now you've done it. Lots of traction. It could be, you know what? It could be my stand is interfering, because that happens. This stand feet can sometimes get in the way of something. Does not look like that's the case, though. So here's the thing about working on this old equipment. You know, while you're trying your best to improve things, there's a risk you're going to damage something. Me, anyway. There's a risk I'm going to damage something. It's just an inevitable risk. There's a risk I'm going to drop this while I'm working on it. It's a little like standing at the side of the highway. And the longer you stand at the side of the highway, the greater your chances of being hit by a car. The longer you fiddle around with one of these things, the greater is the chance that something amiss is going to happen. I'm sure this thing was working mechanically just fine. Now it's not. Anybody notice? Something to do with this. Well, that means it's time to take a break. And now we know where the noise is coming from. So this is stuck up. Okay, that's the hint we'll work on.